Hi, it's Sarah here at Heritage Art. Welcome back. I'm in my studio and this is the April 2025 update for my Dear Jane project, or projects, because I'm making two of them. So following on from last month's theme of quality and enjoyment versus quantity, I didn't get a lot of blocks complete this month, but I'm totally happy with that. So I got 9 blocks done and all in the blue-green. I got a bit carried away with that, so we'll have to catch up on the orange ones at some other stage. But these are the 9 blocks here that you can see. And all in all, they were pretty good. I must say this one here gave me a lot more trouble than it should have. And I'm honestly not sure why. I think it was the inset seams. So you sew the middle block first and then you attach a side and then the second side, and then you have to join the corner. So it's a mitered corner in effect. So it's an inset seam. But once I found the technique, it really didn't give me too much problem. It was just finding the way to do it. So I actually sewed, I would pin it, put a little pin to match the points at the inside edge, and then I would sew out, which seemed to work for me. I'm sure there's many ways of doing it, but the one that I think I might redo is this one here. I'm going to unpin it. So this is called Rising Sun, and you can see that all the points come into the middle. So I'll be brave and show you the back. So that's the back, and like you maybe can't tell from there, but like it's not flat in the middle. There's all these pieces come into a swirl in the middle, and I can hear my friend Anne saying, rotate the seam allowance. I forgot to rotate the seam allowance. So I may make another one, just because like that's a solid lot of seam that's not going anywhere. Now I am planning to use like a wool bat when I quilt it, which will give it some loft and help the machine ride over that, but it looks accurate. It's just a little, not completely flat, but still fun. So that was my 9 blocks for this month. I just wanted to give you a couple of little pointers that on process. So when I finish a block, I get excited about making the next block. And so what I do is I get the paper pattern ready to go and I cut it into pieces and then I pin it. This is actually a wool pressing mat, but it's a great little layout tool for a block. So I just pin all the pieces in their correct location, because what I've found is if you chop the papers up and you don't have a picture right in front of you of the finished block, it can be hard to remember where the pieces go. Ask me how I know that. And so there we go. My block's all ready to go. Now this one is a little unusual in that all the segments are just one piece of fabric, right? And then you join them. You know, a lot of time in paper piecing, say this one here will be 2 or 3 pieces, right? But this one's just one. So what I do with that, when I go to cut it out, I'll have like my piece of paper and my larger piece of fabric. So rather than picking it, putting it on the rotary cutting mat and cutting one side and then picking it up and moving it around, that's when you can get inaccurate cutting. I actually do have this little round cutting board which spins. I've said before I'm not one for gadgets. I'm really not, but this is one that is just super useful when you're dealing with little pieces. So I put the piece of fabric down on there, put the paper on top, and then you can trim one side and then spin it without having to lift the fabric up, and then cut the next side and then spin it again. And it's just a really great tool for accuracy. And then the second little item I wanted to mention was I was actually paper piecing another pattern this month, which I'll reveal in a later video. And what I realized was sometimes the ink from the printer on proper paper piecing paper can come off on your iron, and then it can transfer to light colored fabric. Ask me now how I know that one too. Anyway, don't make the same mistake twice. So what I just do is I grabbed an old tea towel, and as long as you remember to always use the the same side. So I was using just the back side of the tea towel. I would put that on top of my block, because when I press my blocks, I'll put the good side down on the ironing board, and then I press the paper, and that's when the ink transfers. So I'll put that down, face down on my ironing board, and put the tea towel just on top, and then press that, and that way the ink is going to come off on the tea towel. But as long as you always put your fabric face down with the paper up, no matter how many times you reuse the tea towel, the ink, if it comes off, is only going to stay on the tea towel, right? It's not going to transfer to your fabric. So that's just my tip, two tips really. Just a helpful little layout tool for each block as you're piecing, and the little spinny cutting board. I guess the third tip is just the tea towel, just a pressing cloth to stop that ink transferring. It's just really the white and the off-white and very, very light see-through fabrics that have that ink transfer problem. It's slight, but it's there sometimes. So that's my April 2025 update. If you have any questions, let me know. See you next month.